It's like, I found a hand grenade in his coat. And he's like, all right. He goes, where is it now? I said, I didn't bring it in the building. Left it outside. He was like, all right, great. And then he started barking orders. And that's when I was hooked. He was like, you go get your issue. You get on the phone, notify the bomb squad. You get operations. You get the borough. And you're with me. You stay here. Stay with the body. You keep an eye on that guy. And I was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'd like to introduce retired detective Lee Wittek. He was with the 122nd Precinct.
Yeah.
Field Intelligence Officer. He was an intelligence and counterterrorism division, criminal intelligence section. That's a lot of word salad. Is that
a long title? Yeah,
that's one facet of your.
Yeah, because it's the overall division I was from. Then it's the section we're in, and then it's the program I was a part of.
Holy shit.
Can we just call you detective?
Yeah, absolutely.
Intel detective extraordinaire. That's what we'll do.
You're good.
Perfect. One thing I must say, being with the NYPD, that I think is always fascinating. You guys have more sections because you have the bodies, I assume.
Well, they have the manpower numbers tanked now, but when I first got on, they were close to 40,000 people.
Law enforcement?
Well, 40,000 NYPD members. Yeah.
Damn. So that doesn't even include the civilian side.
Right. Yeah. There's
Jesus.
Police department being bigger than some countries' armies.
Yeah. Well, I am excited to get into that because, I mean, New York is one of those odd. I'll say this. Anytime I've been through a lot of academies, I've talked about it, but anytime we're learning law enforcement, the justice system, whatever, on the Fed side, they're like, anybody going to New York? This doesn't apply to you. You'll have to figure it out when you get there. Everyone else in the country, this is how they typically do it. New York does it their own way, right?
Wow. It's hard to describe. Like, they kind of just run their own. They got their own programs. They got their own stuff. They always condense. They always complain. Other departments go to training for like a week for this, and we got to condense it into 8 hours. So, you get 47 breaks over the course of 8 hours. They condense the program into like a really two working hours.
Yeah, two hard hours.
And all you're really concerned with is, am I getting an early blow out of this or what?
Awesome. I'm excited to get into it, but I like to start off with just kind of like where you grew up, how you grew up. Your story is fascinating to me, being a military brat, and then kind of what led you into law enforcement. You're up, brother.
I'm a Staten Island guy, born and raised. My parents are divorced. They divorced when I was a little guy. And my father my father's a Marine. He was a Vietnam veteran. He did 25 years with the fire department. And then 45 years with the Coast Guard Reserves.
3 pensions? Good for it.
The guy, he actually went back to college to get a degree in finance because he wanted to run his own retirement funds and move them around on his own.
I love it.
And on top of all that, whatever free time he had, he was like a general contractor.
Jesus, bro.
He had his own business, and I don't know how he did it. I still find it absolutely amazing. He never missed a ball game. He never missed a function. Like, if he showed up, let's say he'd show up on the fire truck with all the guys on the truck. Ball game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So ain't nothing wrong with that. How many siblings did you have?
I have an older sister.
Dude, that's fucking. Vic was saying the same thing. Like, we've gone through Vic's career path and his 48 different positions that he had at one time, while also going through cancer and raising 3 kids and being the coach of his kids' hockey team. And he never missed a game. And I'm like, well, I cannot say the same. I sucked at that part. So anyway, good for your dad. Love that.
It was good. It was my mother's a bit of a knucklehead. She remarried.
Okay.
She lived like about a mile away, like down. They lived on the same, like almost on the same street, just a mile apart. So it was like I used to ride my bike down to my mother's house, on certain nights,
Yeah.
So she remarried, and she married this guy who was husband number 2, like a foreman or like an engineer for like an international construction company.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. So we did from the ages of like 10 to 16, we did a lot of traveling. We used to go to all these crazy places like Saudi Arabia, we spent a couple of summers there. We were in Egypt and United Arab Emirates, and we were France, Switzerland, Indonesia, we were Japan, Hong Kong. We were in some wild places, but it was, you're talking about so long ago. It was like we were in Dubai. Back then, Dubai was a building with like
Yeah.
a water fountain and like a beach. Like that was it.
That was Dubai.
It was not even remotely anything. They weren't even thinking of it. It was like maybe it was a guy sitting on a carpet, like that was it. Like that's all that was there.
Yeah.
But it was a long time ago. We used to. I joined all these teams because what do you do? You're in the desert. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So they had like
No, for sure.
so we joined like volleyball teams and softball teams. And as I got older, we used to play some of the servicemen that were hanging around.
So I think that's something I tried to do with my kids growing up is, I was traveling with the Secret Service. I'd bring them where I could, when I could, but I just wanted to expose them to other cultures, areas. I don't know, for me, even in the really, London, Paris, Tokyo, all that, I could last maybe a week or two. And then I was like, I need to go back home. I need to get back in the States.
We used to travel. Sometimes they would send us as unaccompanied minors. We had like somebody designated from the airlines just to hang
Yeah.
out with us to make sure we get on the right plane.
Yeah.
We fly across the world alone as kids.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So how long did you spend in these, I guess, like during the course of the summer? Was it like long term? You there for like a month? Was it a couple weeks?
Yeah, it was always like I think we went to Saudi Arabia one year. So we stopped, we flew to like Hawaii first. And then we hung out there for like a day or two. And then we flew to like Indonesia. We hung out in like Bali for like a week. Right. It's really absurd. I get it.
Yeah.
And then we fly to Saudi Arabia and we stay there for a month.
Damn, bro.
That's
So y'all went the long way.
It was always like that. It was always like, all right, we're going to go to Egypt. We're going to go live in Cairo for a month, but we're going to stop off at Paris and the French Riviera for a week first. It was always like these bizarre, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just always these bizarre trips.
And then you go back to school and you're like, guys, I did all. They're like, shut the fuck up. No, you
Yeah,
didn't.
it's like, guess where I was? They're like, you're a goddamn weirdo. This is
You were at your
And
grandma's house upstate.
And how old were you when this was going on?
from the ages of 10 till I was 16.
Dude, that's awesome.
Okay, so I mean, cuisine when you're going over there, it's not chicken nuggets and French fries. So how did you adapt to that?
That's a whole nother story. Like,
Yeah.
I remember going to being in Japan, and like they'd serve you a dish and the stuff would be moving. And
He's not wrong, man. He's not wrong.
And I'm like, I'm like 13. I'm like, am I really going to dive into this? Like, of course not. I was like, let's go to McDonald's. It's right over there. The
Yeah.
Golden Walk. They're universal.
Yeah.
You see them everywhere. Well,
Dude, as an adult, I would, I've been to Japan a few times and with the service, and I love Japan, but we would do these whatever traditional meals and all this stuff like that. It was a really cool experience. Every single time I'd have to hit the McDonald's or a Wendy's on the way home. I was like, bro, I'm still hungry.
No thanks.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of 6'5", 300-pound dudes over there.
I can't get my son is 12. He don't eat anything. I was like, can't imagine, going to Cairo. Hey, he has a street truck. We just ordered 12 shawarma. If that's anybody, have at it. It's like,
You'll be all right, bro. You got to survive.
all right, let's do it.
Yeah, fair enough. So you say till 16. So then, what was next on the list for you, sir? After that, world traveler at 16.
At 16, that was my mother gets divorced. Like the husband number two basically he calls up from Hong Kong. I'll never forget the phone call. Calls up and he's just like, hey, I'm not coming home. I'm never coming back to the States. Keep the house, keep the cars, keep the money. Divorce me.
Damn.
I'm never coming back. So so we go through that, and
that doesn't sound fun.
no, then she sells the house. Yeah, what's she gonna do? She's living in, but she's now alone.
Yeah,
technically alone, but sells a house. She gets to tell me.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I just came home from school one day and it was just like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I sold a house. You got to move out tomorrow. You got to go live with your father. I was like, all right.
Jesus, bro. All
right. It was a quick move. It was only right down the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was like a bag and just walked up the street. I took my Sega Genesis and then humped it up the road.
Oh, I was gonna say you should have had it on a stick with wrapped in a towel or something. Just Staten Island hobo. I love it. All right. So okay. So then you finished.
It's high school straight to college.
Did you play any sports in high school?
I played baseball and basketball.
Big dude like you didn't play football, huh? Well, I guess
I said the same thing.
Not in New York, huh?
So small, it didn't have a football program. Yeah.
Okay.
And I played. I think I threw the shot put for a season or two.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough kids to actually field the team, so we would show up to these track meets, and I'd go out there to throw the shot, and be like, Yeah, whatever you do today doesn't count because you don't have enough people to form a team. So if you want to throw. If not,
Doesn't
yeah,
matter.
that's it. Yeah,
That's surprising to me, actually. I didn't realize. I just assumed New York, they're all just 5,000 kids
very
in every
small
school.
high school, very small.
Okay, all right, all right.
Was
So
it against other, like, I guess for competitive purposes?
Yeah, it was.
You just in Staten Island, or were
You
you
go to
kind
the
of?
Colgate games, you play everybody. Oh, we go to Colgate, we get our behinds kicked because we had it wasn't let's compete for a spot. It was like the first 4 guys to show up. All right, great. You'll relay 1. It wasn't no competition. It was whoever.
fucking Lee's running the 400 now, bro.
And all of a sudden, they got me doing sprints. I was like, come on,
You guys, this is not the way.
200 pounds. I'm in high school. I can't run sprints. It's never my thing.
I'd like to see you do the pole vault. How's that?
Pole vault, yeah.
Snap that thing in two, bro. Oh shit. All right, so high school, straight to college.
Straight to college. I went to St. John's University. And
Okay.
actually, my stepmother worked there. They had the tuition remission program, which basically means the college ate the price of tuition. So we all went to school for free.
Damn right.
So my sister, even my father, re-enrolled back then. So at one point we were all on campus together.
I love it, bro. I love it.
In my last semester, I took a class with him.
Oh, dude, that's
Next
amazing.
to the class.
Hey, Dad.
I told him, I was like, listen, if you want to sit next to me, it's fine. But I like keeping a low profile. I don't even want the teacher to know I'm here. So that means no questions and no answers. First opportunity you went, that hand went up. As soon as it went up, wow, I caught right in the ribs.
He's like, this is my son.
Yeah, exactly. The whole class looked at me. I was like, it's my dad.
Yeah, easy. Okay. All right.
It's all about the textbook.
Oh God, he was a super nerd.
Your
He would
dad.
study every day. And I was like, Dad, we got a test coming up. Let me read the book. He goes, well, if you're reading it, what am I supposed to read? I was like, dude, you've been studying it all week. I need it for one night. Let me just study. He's like, no. I was like, well, you have your notes. He goes, well, you should have took better notes.
Oh my God.
I gave you the book so that we could share it. Now you're not even gonna let me look at it. He was a hard ass about it. He really was. It was a lot of fun though, but he was super hard ass about it.
That's funny, dude. That's hilarious. What an interesting dynamic, bro, to go to college with with your dad.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah. We were
I
very
fucking
close.
love it.
So we still are very close.
That's good, bro.
And
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Listen, 3 pensions, dude's doing it right, baby.
he's killing it right now. He's
Good
all
for
his
him.
things that all these goals he set up for himself, he went out and crushed them all. It's like if
That's
only I
amazing.
could do that. I'm trying.
Yeah, well,
Trying.
bro. We all are. I'm trying to get to that status. Jesus. All right. So what point did you think you were going to be a cop? Was it in college or did you float around for a little bit?
Never.
Never, not once.
Never, not once considered it. Like when I went to school for communications. I wanted to study. I focused in radio. I wanted to
Okay.
be involved in the business of radio. Not even.
Yeah.
You got a face for radio, that's for sure.
Yeah, I got a face for radio.
Damn right. Damn right. Did you ever work in a radio at all?
Yeah, actually, I did an internship with WFAN. I
Okay.
don't know if you're familiar with that sports, but it's like the biggest sports radio station out here.
Okay.
That was in '98. That's when the NBA All-Star game was actually at Madison Square Garden that year. So I got sent to the Jacob Javits Center for the NBA Fan Fest.
That's
To
awesome.
represent the station there. I used to run around and find all the basketball players and try to talk to them and stuff. That's pretty cool. That job was good.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I worked for the promotions department. So my main function was like the station plays throughout the building. So they had like a telephone tone. So when you heard the tone, I had to run down to the studio, grab the phone. Hey, congratulations. You call a 66. You win tickets to whatever. And I had to set it up with the winner to come pick up the tickets from me.
That was your deal.
That was a lot of fun, that job, because otherwise it was just sitting around playing with all the sound devices and the reel machines, because that was also 100 years ago, so nothing was digital.
Yeah. Damn, bro. That many changes. So all right. So how long did you do that?
WFAN, that was an internship. It was only for that one semester, so what, like maybe 6 months.
Okay.
And then it was all through college. I worked multiple jobs. Like I worked for a truck loading company in Fort Newark, New Jersey. I worked for the campus bookstore. And then from all the years of my father teaching me about contracting work, I used to remodel bookstores. The guy that owned the bookstore on campus bought all these other stores.
Yeah.
And then he would bring me along to remodel them. So I
Dude,
would
that's okay.
work all over the place and redo that. And then I got to a point where some of the professors found out on campus, and I used to do work in their homes.
Did you get good grades if you did good work?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. I like where you're going.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, nothing wrong with it.
That was the accounting department. That was not like, it was
Yeah.
not anything I wanted a part of.
Dude, that's what a great skill set. So during COVID, I learned about, I wouldn't say contracting at all, but we're stuck at home. So I was like, I'm going to do some stuff around the house. And I remember walking, and keep in mind, this is in Maine, right? Very blue collar. Everyone's rugged. Everyone does their own shit. Electrical, plumbing, doesn't matter. And so I walk over to my neighbor's house and I was like, hey, do you have a saw? I need to cut something. He was like, yeah, what kind of saw do you need? And I was like, the one that goes like this. He's like, oh, bro, I didn't know shit. He's like, all right, bro. All right,
Well, it's
show me
fair.
what you're trying to do. But from that point, I've learned a lot. So, but that I was 33 years old before I wouldn't even change a light socket because I was like, I'm gonna get shocked.
Yes.
Again, I don't know. I don't fucking know shit. But I feel
You feel
I feel better now. But yeah, I lived 33 years without knowing how to do any of that shit.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty good.
embarrassing now, but it's like, oh my god, I can't believe that was how it was. Skill sets, bro. Skill sets.
It's
I'll
it.
tell you this: my son, because he's a Marine now. I made him take shop class in high school. He's like, Dad, I don't want to, because he was like in honors and AP. I was like, no, you're not going to be like me. You're going to have a skill set. Well, now he's in the Marines, and guess what they do? They patch up stuff, fix or they fix shit. He's like, I'm actually very happy that you taught me that because I don't look like an idiot. All right, so we were talking about general contracting, and you did a little bit of that.
Yeah, I did. I did it for like the bookstores, and then I did it for some of the professors' homes. And I did that for a while. I did that right up until I graduated, and then after graduation, I basically decided to take off for 3 months. I took
And
off
just
in summer, just hung out, we lifted weights, we played basketball, like that was it. That was all we did. We did nothing for like 3 months. I decided I needed some time,
yeah,
took it, and then I went back to work.
what'd you do then?
I got a job with Westwood One Radio Networks.
All right, okay, so you were actually this isn't an internship now. You're working there.
Oh yeah, this is real. Yeah, the $19,000 a year.
Hey,
Nice. Bringing home the bacon.
that's
Yeah,
right.
19 G's.
I had 2 job offers. The first one was for 15, and the second and the big money was for 19, so I jumped on
Hey.
the big money.
Nice.
And this is when radio was still popping. I mean, not. I guess there's still
Yeah.
some bigger radio shows now.
We're
but
talking big
radio-
markets too. We're talking New York City.
Yeah,
And it's also this was all pre, like, satellite radios, it was pre-internet, it was pre-Napster, it was like, that's how far back we're going, Howard Stern was still on an FM station.
yeah,
This is like what, 98?
It was 98.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is back in the day when, and I'm in that transitionary age group where I used to record radio songs from the radio onto cassette tapes,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
and that's how I would make my cassette tapes.
How do you make
They
your
would still have a
mixtape?
commercial in there. They'd still hit the little, in the middle of the song, so you knew it was on the radio.
You all
Fuckers.
mad 'cause they talked up the songs, yeah, the whole intro was ruined. Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking while the intro's going on, like, shut up. For sure. How long did you do that?
I did that until I joined the police department in 2004.
All right, so let's walk through that because that's for
That's
me.
a long time.
Yeah, that's an
Years.
interesting one career change. But like, walk me through your radio career and then like what was that transition?
I worked for the media planning department. Basically, like, the guys in that department, the sales guys come to you and say, hey, I got Pfizer has $500,000 to do for advertising. Build me a schedule. I'm trying to reach adults 25 to 54. So we take a look at all our radio programs, which ones are geared towards that demographic, and they build a schedule. They do times, morning drives, daytimes, PM drives, scans, all that fun stuff. They figure it out. We figure it out. We build a schedule. Pay for it. It depends on how many people you reach and all the math of all, like, ratings and all that fun stuff.
What's it? There's like a name for those type of ratings. Is it? That's not the Nielsen ratings, is it?
Similar to those. Nielsen's more like a TV thing. Radio is, I forget what the radio ones are called, but they weren't the Nielsen's. It was because the Nielsen's were like, there was like a box in like your living room, and it counted, like, it actually recorded what you watched and all that.
And how about as far as the radio? Like, how did you know, like, what? I mean, obviously, you going by like traffic patterns. Like, how do you, like, morning rush, evening rush?
What are you talking about? Like the ratings? How do we know?
Yeah.
Well, they would like, they come out with the ratings books. You always heard Howard Stern always talks about the ratings books.
Yeah.
Well, there
Yeah.
was one it was like the major company that put that out there. They would rank all the different radio shows, the different networks, and the shows that were on there, and then they would compile the numbers, and then it would then it would just trickle down to us. Then you just basically just became like a math problem. They put like, how many cost per point per thousand of people reach, and like, well, you multiply that by the ratings and then the people, and then this is what you got to pay for it. Yeah,
My brain's ready in a pretzel.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's why I became a cop.
Yeah. I'm in the right career field right now.
actually made it very interesting because when they had the big blackout,
Yeah.
they had the blackout all those years ago. I
That
actually
was 2000.
like two, maybe
Two?
2001.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their computer systems went down.
Shit.
Yeah. So like, I think oddly enough, I used Excel and created an Excel spreadsheet that did the math for them so that we could still function without the computer systems, because I created like all these hidden mathematical equations in an Excel spreadsheet. Which
Listen,
very strange to hear.
I don't ever want to hear you complain about getting on a computer ever again. Now that you just said you made an Excel
Hang
spreadsheet
rocks
with it.
together, then use a computer. But yes, I did that once upon a time. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. See, little hidden talents, bro. I'm loving all this. The intel path is starting to make sense. See, we're building it, and I love it.
I started out as like an assistant to the assistant in the department.
Yes.
I still laugh about it with my wife. I think for the first 2.5 years that I worked for the company, I didn't know I had vacation time.
They didn't tell you.
I didn't know I could use sick time just whenever. So I did what my father did. I just showed up every day.
Yeah.
Every day, no questions asked. What do you need me to do? Every day I showed up. And then
Bro, there's nothing wrong with that, bro.
No, there's not.
shot up. They gave me a shot at being a planner, and I very quickly became like their senior guy. They gave me all the big markets to handle, and then I was using all the big accounts. And when I got to that point, which really didn't take all that long, when I got to that point, that's when it really got fun, that job.
What made that fun?
When the big accounts come in, everybody needs everything now. Everything's now. I need it in 5 minutes. Well, hey, guy, I'm busy. You're going to have to wait. You may have to wait till tomorrow. You may have to wait till after lunch. You're like number 4 on the list. Well, they'd slip your tickets to concerts. So you slip
Hey.
ball games. They take you out. I'd come home with more money than I left the house with in the morning. You know what I mean?
I need this. All right, bro. Well,
it was wild. Like they would send, like I went to Woodstock 99. The guy slipped tickets in my pocket. I was like, oh man, I'm going to see Metallica. I called my buddy as soon as I saw them. I was like, yo, we're going. Saturday morning, we got to leave. We went to Woodstock, like two maniacs.
I love it, bro.
The most wild thing I've ever seen in all my life.
Well, we'll leave it at that. I like it, bro.
So Lee, as far as in relation, you were still living in Staten Island at this time, right?
Yeah, I was still living in my father's house.
Because Westwood 1 was, you said, by the Roseland, right? So you're like talking about
it started on West 52nd Street, upstairs from the Roseland Ballroom. Yeah.
And how long did it take you to get to work every morning?
Jeez, it was a bus to the ferry, to the train, and I had to walk a few blocks.
Oh my God, bro.
You're talking
That's
like
some New York shit.
Commutes?
It was like an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45.
Every day.
That's not a hop skip. I mean, that is a hop, skip, and a jump if you really think about it.
Yeah.
You're going by air, sea, and land almost.
when I did my internship with WFAN, that was in Queens.
Jesus.
So that was a bus to the ferry to catch the train, and I had to take it through Manhattan, through parts of Brooklyn, and halfway through Queens to get there. And that train ride itself was 45 minutes.
Oh my God.
It's 45 minutes just to get to the train.
See, you have that story. I walked 7 miles uphill, one way, both way, whatever. You're like, bro.
Then you fall asleep on the train coming home, and you blow right past your stop. You end up in another borough, and then you got to get it coming back on the other way. Then you got to jump on just to miss the boat. Now you got to wait for it. That was a nightmare.
But your pockets were heavy though, so that's a good thing.
Wasn't they weren't paid internships back then.
Oh shit, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so you're crushing it. It sounded like still to this day you enjoyed it. What caused the shift?
I met my wife.
Say fuck it. All right.
we got married.
Game changer.
Yeah. There it is right there. We were gonna have a baby. And I was like, all right, well, I need to start making some real money if I'm bringing a baby into this world.
Yep.
So I started. That's when, and right around then is when, like the satellite radios became big. Like that was all brand new. There was like so much more competition in that area that it was hard to find a job.
Yeah.
Very difficult. Like I think the only company that offered me a job was Telemundo.
You would fit right in, bro.
Like, all right, we'll take you. I was like, I only got one question. I don't know. I was like, I don't speak a lick of English, lick of Spanish. They're like, don't worry about it. Neither do 90% of the people that work here.
Wow.
Right?
Was that in that was in Jersey, right? Was that in Jersey?
No, Telemundo was further uptown. It was like
Two
somewhere
ferry rides.
close to Central Park.
Jesus, bro. All
Yeah,
right, so okay, so you saw the writing on the wall, so to speak.
but even they weren't offering enough money. Like they weren't offering much more than I was already making.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because why would I commit to that if I'm not making anything more? It's more of a pain in the ass to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're adding to your commute going up to the park there.
My aggravation, but it was, and the whole time my wife is just like, just take the test, take city tests every day, take the test. I was like, finally, I was like, I will take the test if you just get off my back about it. So I filed for the police department, fire department, Port Authority. In the police department, I was late to my daughter's first birthday party because it was the same day, ended up being the same day as the written exam for the police department. So I had the whole ass out of there.
See, they're already, the police department already screwed you. You didn't even get there yet. You
I
weren't
was
even
about to say, set the tone right up front.
setting the tone.
Right from the top, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The big blue weenie right there. right for the
Have to get, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
But
so okay, so I was about to ask. I was like, wow. So your dad was, a firefighter. Why not that? But so you just applied for all of them, and then PD called you first.
The fire department was never up there. That wasn't
Really.
I was like, man, I'm definitely afraid of heights, and I can't handle fire. I was like, this don't look like. I don't think that's the job for me.
Yeah.
I was like, and I also looked at it as like, it's probably not. It's not funny, but I was like, well, if it's my time to go, I'll let it be quick. I won't.
I know what you're saying.
Let me.
That's fair enough.
That is a dark outlook.
Yeah,
Right off the get, baby.
I mean, I didn't know how else to justify it. It was just, I just was not. The fire department was not on the top of my list.
That's a valid statement. All right. So then you get the call,
and I get the call, and I was like, all right,
I
guess I'm doing it.
I'm loving it because people are like, my whole life, this is all I've ever wanted. My great grandfather was NYPD. This is all I want, and they don't get the call, and you're like, oh, fuck, I guess I'll do it.
God. And then you immediately blamed your wife.
Yeah,
see what you made me do.
Look what you made me do.
So they called, and I went. And the police academy is a miserable place.
Mm-hmm.
It's
true.
Was it East 20th and 3rd Avenue? But it was, it's like a rite of passage. You got to suck it up. You got to deal with that. It's not anything close to what they have to go through now. That building was so small. And I went through, I think it started out as a class of 2000.
Holy shit.
So it was so big that like when you run in the gym, you were on the heels of like everybody. Like there was just one giant continuous line, like 5 people wide, because there was just no room. You're sitting there, you're working out, you're doing your push-ups and the sweat of everybody else that was there before you. It was it was not pleasant at all.
2000. That's fucking crazy. I just
graduated with 1900.
Damn, bro.
Wait, so you started with 2000, you graduated in 1900? That's actually not bad. Losing only 100?
Yeah, people get, they get hurt, they get kicked out.
Yeah.
We're our own worst enemy. Dummies that get kicked out for doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but better kick them out then, bro, because
100%.
Cops do a lot of dumb shit, but it's like, bro, if you can't hold it together doing like the most basic of all training, I don't know, bro. Like, be better.
Be a fireman.
Yeah, be a fireman or Port Authority.
A friend of mine worked for he worked for the medical examiner's office. He used to drive the meat wagon. So he used to come at midnight to come pick me up from the police academy in the meat wagon, and we'd go back to the hospital and jump in the car and go home.
Oh my God, bro. Dude, let me say something real quick. Hillsborough County was where I started my law enforcement career. I learned about the meat wagon. I know what you're talking about. And my first dead body call, I was like, okay, whatever. I'm waiting. I was interested. I was like, how are they going to get, I'm thinking there's some sort of technique or some sort of something. No, they just go to grab it, pick it up. And yeah, dude, the meat on the arm swung up like a fucking chicken bone. I was like, and they're just like, oh, is this the first time? I was like, I don't care if it was 100 times. That's horrible. They're like, it happens. I was like, they're just oblivious to it. I was like, holy shit. Yeah. There's no way I could ever do that, bro.
There are some great stories. I've seen guys where the medical examiner comes to check bullet wounds and he's sticking his finger in the wound, blood squirting over here. Just ready to pass out. We had to drag him out of the building. We fell face first into the crime scene.
Officer down, officer down.
I tease that kid forever about that to this day.
Well, dude,
He was doing one of those where he's just spinning. Like, get him out of here.
just boop, 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 boop. That's wild, bro. That is fucking, yeah, that's wild. Shit. All right. Sorry. Bro, Lee, you are a story machine, bro. You just throwing out little, I was in the police academy. My buddy would pick me up in the meat wagon. Oh my God, bro. All right. So then because you told the story that born and raised in Staten Island, and then where you ended up working your entire career was in the same building.
Yes.
Your entire career was spent in the area you grew up as well, right?
I grew up on the North Shore. This is more like the West Shore. So it was like the only time I was in this area was, if I had a baseball game or we were playing one of the schools out here. Never really hung out. There was, I should say, there was an A&W restaurant. I had to go there for my cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
A&W, nice.
That's back in the 8-1. Phenomenal, by the way.
I needed my cheeseburgers and onion rings.
That sounds amazing.
You got to feed the machine, baby.
It certainly was.
A&W.
All right. So you're on, and again, forgive my ignorance. I'm learning about NYPD. Foot patrol, car patrol. I don't know how you guys. What was the progression?
Well, back then it was my field training was foot posts. Yeah, they just drive you someplace, and it was a dead of winter. Everybody goes through it. It's cold as hell out there. We got hit with a bunch of snowstorms that year, so they just drop you off on a train station. But they just drop you off, and you're in shin deep snow, and there's really nothing around.
What are you doing? You're just walking around.
Yeah.
Say are you guarding something? Like you just guarding the train station? Or?
Train stations. It was because the 122 is not like it's not like Brooklyn. It's not like Manhattan where they have just raging crime at the train stations, and it's not like a hub of activity.
Yeah.
But they are like secluded spots where like you get a lot of weird stuff happens out there. Like we don't get the foot traffic out here like they have like in all the other boroughs. Like we have the same crime. It's just that you have to look a lot deeper to find it because it's all here. You just got to know how to look for it.
Gotcha.
Just being dropped off at a train station off of the main thoroughfare. Nah,
that ain't it.
It's done.
Were you by yourself? Dude, that's such a wild way to do police work. I don't understand.
Yeah, there's, and the only instruction you get is, if you have any questions, don't call the boss, call the senior officer. Well, today's like my first week. I got plenty of questions. You may want to just hang out with me. So maybe I can get through this without hurting myself or anybody else.
Yeah, you may want to just hang out with me for a day. Well, at least a day.
Let's see. Hopefully that works.
There we go.
Computer tech. What?
Hey, bro, level one computer tech, creating mathematical programs in Excel.
Yeah, but he can't turn his volume on.
Did struggle with that, but.
All right, so how long did you do foot beat?
I can honestly say that my time in the police academy and even through field training, like I hated it. It was miserable. I didn't want to be there. It was just every day I had this conversation with myself. I was like, this blows. Why am I doing this to myself? I was like, you could walk away right now and figure something out. And it was the same conversation every day. And it was just like the end part was always, all right, let's grind out today. Let's just stick it out and we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
And I would do that every day. And then I got
was it 23 weeks when you started
the police academy?
Yeah.
It was 24. We went a week deep into January. So it was like from July to January almost.
Got it. And then how long were you on the foot beat, I guess? Like what was your progression for your career?
That was quick. Like they left us, they took a group of us that I guess they decided like, who could handle it, who still had to stay in the training program, who could they cut loose out into squads and actually go out on patrol. So I think I was it's like 6 weeks, maybe a month and a half.
Oh, okay.
They were like, all right, you're
still
out.
A long 6 weeks though.
But even then I was like, this sucks. I was like, I didn't want to be there. I was like, again, it came down to, I was like, all right, just grind it out for the day and we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
But then if you think about the time, because you said you started in January?
Patrol out of the police academy.
Yeah. Yeah. But how does your detail work? Like, do you have like the new year starts? Does that start like a new detail?
No. Like you get, when you graduate the police academy, the day before they give you your assignment and then you just report to the command. They do like a quick orientation with you, and that's it. You're there.
But when you
Yeah.
get to that command, all the positions are already established, like as of January 1st, right? Like,
Well,
you guys like change your detail, because there's probably nowhere for you guys to even be. But
no,
that's just how it is.
yeah, like they're gonna start like the positions. Like if you're on a team, like that never changes. So it's like if you were like a housing guy, well, you're on that housing team to you apply to go move on. They don't just move you on. If you never applied to go anywhere, they leave you there for 20 years. They'll leave,
Walking or doing whatever.
they'll leave you there till you just burn out and quit.
Fair enough. All right.
Right? Like you gotta move around. They very rarely come and recruit you for anything.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
All right.
That's I was trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
I figured maybe just the time of year you graduated, there's really nowhere for you to even
They
to
always
go. So they just stuck you on this because they had no other answers. Like, what are we gonna do with these knuckleheads?
you either go to field training and then you go right to patrol. And then it's, from there, it's, you're sitting on the DOAs, you're sitting on the hospitalized prisoners, you're doing the prisoner transports, you're doing, you're babysitting the juveniles that are going up.
Yeah, you do all the grunt work. It's just nothing
Line
nobody
ups.
wants to do.
Right. And then it's, if you got lucky and they were short, you ended up in a patrol car answering radio runs.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, let me ask you: when did you realize like this is my career and it was stopped? Well, I'm not gonna say it never stopped being a grind, but when was it like, okay, this is what I'm doing?
When they first put me in a patrol car and I was doing day tour patrol,
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. It was me and the senior guy who were driving around, and we go to just a normal, just a car accident. We got to take a car, middle of the afternoon. This guy decides to pinball down a one-way street off a couple of parked cars.
Sure.
Stays there. So it's like, all right, he's here, whatever. But as soon as we show up, he takes off like a lunatic, and now it becomes like a thing. Like now we're chasing him. Then he crashes, and a couple of transit cops find him first, and he was like some kind of karate guy. And he beats the snot out of the two transit guys. Right. I don't understand it. It's still to this day, but it's a little sketchy, but he beats up the two transit guys, but he's screaming over the radio. They find him. It's like a dog pile when everybody finds him.
Yeah.
And he gets locked up, but it's like a big McGilly, it's like a big scene. They take everything back to the precinct. They bring the guy back to the precinct. And like, now here I am, a rookie, just floating around trying to figure out what the hell is going on here.
Yeah.
And like the boss is just trying to get rid of me. He's like, go out to the car, just go check the car, see what's in the car. So I go out to the car, and me being the brand new cop that I am, I find weapons in the car, but I come back and I'm holding them, like I gotta hold them in like a bear hug. I got baseball bats and like samurai swords and trucker sticks. I got like all this insane, with nails driven into them. Like, what?
Was this guy one of the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts.
Bro.
So they're like, what'd you find? So I drop everything on the table, and they were like, oh, that's all garbage. Go throw it out.
That's a lot of paperwork, bro. What are you doing?
Bring a little garbage in here for. Get rid of it. All right. All right. Go check the car again. All right. Go back to the car. And I actually found a hand grenade in the guy's jacket. It's like in the front
I'm loving
seat,
this, bro.
on the passenger seat. And I'm not a military guy. I've never touched one.
Yeah.
But I picked up his coat and I felt something super heavy in the pocket. So I just grabbed the outside pocket, and I was like, no expert, but that feels like a hand grenade to me. So I opened up the pocket, sure as shit. So I gently put it back down where I found it, walked into the building, and the boss is yelling at me from across the room. And he goes, Wittek, what'd you find? I said, I found a hand grenade.
I was hoping you were going to run in there with it and be like, guys, look what I found.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what is it? He's like a needle scratched off the record. The place went dead silent.
Yeah.
People started sticking their heads out of offices.
What'd you say?
He goes, say that again, but louder. And I was like, I found a hand grenade in his coat. And he's like, all right. He goes, where is it now? I said, I didn't bring it in the building. I left it outside.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, great. And then he started barking orders. And that's when I was hooked. He was like, you go get your issue. You get on the phone, notify the bomb squad. You get operations. You get the borough. You and you're with me. You stay here. Stay with the body. You keep an eye on that guy. And I was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, bro.
And how long into your career was this?
It's probably like 3 or 4 months.
Bro.
So the entire academy up to this point, you're like, this job sucks.
Every day.
Blows. What? I mean, it's like, I got in late. I was 28 when I got in.
Yeah.
And I got some instructor who's younger than me looking at me. And it's just like,
I'm not the one, bro.
I'm not built for this. Yeah, I'm gonna need some space here. I'm trying to hold it together, and these guys
Bro.
just yelling at me. And I'm not like a confrontational dude when it comes to that, but it's just like, there's a lot of holding my breath and just kind of counting to 10.
Lee,
Hit 28, man. I was 22, so I had, 6 years, especially in your 20s. That makes a big difference.
yeah.
Then I was married with a baby already when I got in, so I was done.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing the.
Yeah, I got married and had a baby in the academy, so I did it all different.
Ah, there you go.
Talking
There you
about stress, like the two most stressful things. Why don't you just buy a house? You get the whole trio all at once.
All at one time, bro.
The most
Everything's
stressful
breaking
thing
while you're
you do in
working.
life, you do it all in one shot.
Lee,
Yeah,
Lee,
that's a whole other episode.
you'll appreciate this. So I did 6 years with Hillsborough County. I was probably 33, maybe 34. I can't remember. And I went to be a Maine State Trooper and I had to go through their academy, which was an additional 9 weeks. Right off keep in mind, I'm a grown ass man. I've already been a cop. I've already done some things in my career. And day one, it's Trooper Academy, so they have the Stetsons.
Yeah.
Brims me right in the fucking face, yelling at me, and I was like, and he goes, "Oh, somebody doesn't like to get hit in the face," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm about to choke you out.
With a spike.
Don't hit me in the face."
They have like integrity control officers, right? So like, these are the guys that are supposed to be like they like sneak around, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and they get all on top of you. So I lived in this apartment, and one day I get home from the police academy, and I walk in the house, and I'm sitting in the couch, and I'm looking out the window, and I see the integrity control officer from the police academy was walking past my house.
Yes.
And I blew an absolute gasket, and I ran down the stairs, and I flew out the door, and I walked right up to him, and I'm screaming at him like, "How dare you? What do you think you're doing? You really think this is value your time like this?" And the guy just calmly looks at me and he goes, "What? I'm not allowed to live across the street?" And I was like,
Shit.
"He's gonna ride me for the rest of my life."
Yeah, he is.
I was like on the verge of cracking back in those days.
He's like, "Oh, maybe I do need to look into this house a little bit more." Shit. All right. So you run into the precinct with a hand grenade, bro. I thought you were gonna tell me that. I really thought you were gonna be like, "Guys, look what I found! I found a grenade." So, what was the progression to get to detective? And again, you're saying you had to apply for all this stuff, so I'm just kind of interested on what led you to that path specifically.
So like back in those days, there was steps that you had to go through. So it's like you had to make your way through. You had to get your name out there. People had to know you.
Yeah.
You had to build a resume. Really, you had to be an active guy. You had to be on top of it. So I only did patrol for like a year and a half, and then special operations picked me up right away. Like I applied for like the housing unit, and the housing sergeant at the time, great guy. We became very close friends. He was a linebacker for the football team.
Yeah.
And he was just like this big meaty dude. And we had these big guys on the team. So I joined, they gobbled me right up onto that team. And we had a lot of fun running through public housing. A lot. They taught me, I learned a lot of things about they teach you how to, because it's not like just roll up in your car, you jump out, you lock somebody up. It's the projects. You have to be unseen. You're wearing uniforms, you're driving blue and white cars with lights on them. You got to somehow manage to be invisible.
Yeah.
And sneak up on people. So you learn, hug the building lines, hop, if you climb up the fence rather than walk up the stairs, you could surprise everybody hanging out in the lobby. Or when you're doing your verticals, you're coming down the stairs, going up the stairs, and turn your radios off, hold your keys so they stop jingling. You go silent.
Yeah.
We learned how to do that. And then
it's more of a slow play than just jumping out on someone.
Yeah, frankly, it was a world that I've never been exposed to. It's like, that is not a world that I lived in. It was, and here I am, I'm in it every day, and I loved it. I loved it. Like, I can't say enough about it. Like I was there, I think I lasted a little bit less than 2 years there. And by the time I was done, like, I had a reputation as the go-to guy for housing. You had a question about housing, go find Wittek. The squads, like detective squads, would be like, "Hey, I'm looking for this guy. Who should we talk to?" Go find Wittek. He'll know. Narcotics units. You needed keys to get into a building, to get into a room. Where's the best observation post? Where should we go for this one? Where should we go for that? Go talk to Wittek. Literally, we had a lot of fun. And one of the things we did was just for the team, for team purposes, was smoking cigars.
Yeah.
At the end of the month, who's short? Who's short on activity for month? I'm short. All right, let's go. We'll meet at the cigar shop, and then we're going down to South Beach houses. We'd pick a building, you go up onto the roof, you smoke the cigars, you wait for the first crackhead to come out. You just scoop them up because it was automatic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they come up there to smoke some crack, and he walks into like 6 cops just hanging out.
I just call that team building, bro. I love it.
It was a lot of fun. We used to, and then from housing, it was conditions. That was more of like a quality of life, like bar and club enforcement kind of thing. And again, like the guys that were on that team, we were all very close friends, but they all got there before I did. And they always talked about the routes. We had to drive the route. Which route are you taking? You going north? You going south? I had no idea what they were talking about. So, I didn't want to be left behind. Like I needed to be up there with everybody else. So old school. I went to 7-Eleven. I bought a map, sat down with like the 311, the complaints, and plotted out like the route, my own route on a map, and learned what the heck these guys were talking about. So I could be up
Was it
there.
just different avenues of approach?
Yeah, it was just like they'd been doing it for so long, and I came from housing, so I was only allowed to drive in what we called the triangle. I could only go from my 3 housing developments.
Yeah.
And the department used to track, like they'd say, well, how much activity do you have off development? And if it was anything less, if I had less than 95%, like if I came in with 94% on development, the chief would come down like a hammer. All right, no more cars for your whole team. Everybody's on foot every day until this gets straightened out.
Yeah.
So it had to be. So I wasn't free to drive the whole precinct. We had our 3 spots, and that was that.
Well, that makes sense. That's why you knew that shit inside and out.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I understand that. I get it. In a law enforcement perspective, like you want people who have. It's one of the things I've always had issues with. It's like you get someone who's been somewhere 2-3 years and they're experts in that area, and then for the age that work, then they would force you to move. They move you, and it's like, well, who's taking my place? They're gonna have to relearn everything I've already. You know what I mean?
Right.
I never understood that. All right, so
But that
what?
was. I got to conditions during the opioid epidemic. There were drugs everywhere. I mean, you couldn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't throw a rock down the street and hit something that wasn't holding a ton of pills someplace.
Still in like this is all over? Or are you talking like still about like the
Pretty much.
projects?
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I think, because even when because when I was in crime, they made that slow transition to heroin. So like when I was in conditions, we were like animals. Like, you could go everywhere, just collar every day. And
Yeah.
it's, but you're also working with, it's like, so we weren't really working. We were out there goofing around and having fun. Meanwhile, you're dragging in bodies like every day. Like everybody's dragging in bodies every night.
Yeah.
So we were having a lot of fun. And then from there, it was anti-crime, which was plainclothes. And then
That was my shit, bro. I love plainclothes.
we got a new boss. My buddy Louis retired because he came to conditions with us. And just before we left and went to crime, he retired. And we got a new young sergeant, this guy Mike. And Mike jumped that first night. Mike jumped in a car with me and my buddy Nicky, and it was like we were friends for life. Like he had a short fuse, and we were all anxious to get out there, and it created it was just chaos on the streets. Like they let us loose. We went to the hot spots, and it was every night. We were rock and rolling like every day. It was to a point where one day I just called him and was like, bro, I was like, we got to slow down.
Yeah.
Look, my body hurts. Last night I was trying to go home, but I was covered in street sludge. I was like, I can't keep up, man. We got to slow down a little bit. But we
You
had
don't have to wreck
gasoline
all
in
the
a match.
Yeah, exactly.
but what it did was we were having so much fun that it wasn't like we weren't like buffs, and we weren't like buying into the whole nonsense. Like we had a job to do. You went out there to fight crime. Like we're collecting bad guys. But we were having fun. So it was just like we were very active, but none of us looked at it like that. It was like we were all goofing around. Everything was all smiles and stuff while you're getting things done. Even if you had like a real bag, like a real ugly one, like, all right, I'm just gonna make a little extra money on this one. We became like literally, like you said, like we were experts. We knew everybody, like every bad guy. Like you couldn't, like we got to a point where the bad guys used to call us by our first names. Guys would be like, yo, Lee, again? He goes, when are you going to transfer and get out of here? They used to use the codes. When are you going to drop a 57 and get out of here? He's like,
Bro.
Every day. Knowledge of knowing all the criminals led me to being recruited by the field intelligence guy. Like they came to me and they were like, you're talking about a unit where you need to know people and know areas, and know the ins and outs of stuff. He's like, I basically built a case. I was like, I'm gonna take this.
Yeah. So you did get recruited. Okay, that's what I was going to ask because you said that that's kind of rare, but
They came to me and said, you know, you got me taking this spot. I was like, hell yeah, let's do this.
was it a detective spot? Like, did you?
No, it was a spot like, how do I explain it? They have, if you go to investigative unit, you have to do your investigative time. And then at the end of that time, you know, they promote you.
Got it.
And if you, they can do what's called like a, like a specialist, they call you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, you get promoted based on merit. So like, you know, you're the top, you know, you're the best guy that the precinct has. You know, you've worked for it, you earned it. The CO is like, you know what, you're gonna get promoted. You're gonna get the specialist shield.
Got it.
And that's what I was for years. And it was like, you know, they always said, you know, you got to get your name out there. You got to go to the meetings. You know, the chiefs need to know you. You know, the borough commanders need to know you. All the COs, you know, they got to be able to call you. You know that they can trust you. You got, you know, you got to get your guns. We had to do search warrants, get our gun numbers up. It was like, if you do all that, you got to get promoted. I did all that. And it didn't work. It didn't work. Yeah. But at that point, you know, my daughter was in high school, and her high school was 3 blocks from the precinct. My son was in daycare. The daycare was 4 blocks from the precinct.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what?
I'm
I was like,
okay.
I'm good right
You're
here.
good.
30 seconds from either one of them if they need me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good right here. I'll just ride this out, see what happens.
Very good. Just for the interest of time, I just want to get into a few more things. But so, without again, I'm not asking you to divulge any trade secrets or anything like that. But you go from that to Intel and help enlighten me. But NYPD Intelligence Unit is world renowned. They have NYPD has people that sit in foreign embassy foreign sections like Amsterdam and all that stuff like that. Like, you'll find an NYPD person anywhere in the world almost. They all communicate and they work with. I mean, they say that the big 16 intelligence agencies. I would say NYPD is one of them. All right, so Lee, we've discovered the difference between a laptop charger and a phone charger. Hanging rocks together, bro. I get it.
Yes.
But we were getting into your Intel career path, and again, this is going to pretty much be an outline of your career. But what I was saying is that NYPD is considered one of the premier intel law enforcement agencies, I think, in the world. I mean, everywhere I've been, there's been some sort of attaché with NYPD somewhere in all the major countries, which I was like, but aren't they? They're city cops. They're like, yeah, no, it's New York City. It's very different. It's very different. No, listen, it's very different. And on the Fed side, they always talk about like the 16 intel agencies or whatever, 17. NYPD is its own intel hub. And basically, if they don't know, then most people don't know. Is kind of the deal. So with that being said, I understand that there's 1,000 different facets to intelligence, and I'm not asking you to dig into any or share any trade secrets or anything like that. But that's just a different world. You're going from being, I would say, a very active beat cop to in the world of intel. So what was that transition for you?
It was pretty awesome. It was, you go straight into, all of a sudden I'm thrown into working with confidential informants, dealing money. I'm not paying bad guys to do bad guy stuff for me. We're putting cases together with, now I got to go. I'm working directly with ADAs, like TV style. Like, yo, if you work with me, you know, I'll make your case disappear. And then calling up the ADA, be like, yo, Joe Blow wants to work. What are we doing with this case? They're like, well, how good's the intel? Tell spot on. All right, just tell them to show up and we'll dismiss the charges, like that kind of stuff.
That's pretty wild, bro.
Those are on like a minor charge. You know what I mean? Like the more heavier stuff, you would go down, you have a little bit more of a conference and tell them you could work off his penalties. But you could still use them. You go into the judges, you stand in front of a judge, you go to the courtroom, you're swearing out warrants. During COVID, again, it was like TV. It was, nobody was in the office. So the judge would be like, hey, Lee, just come to the house. We're going to sit down for dinner at 7:00. Don't worry about it. Just ring the bell. And the guy would come out and we'd discuss like a search warrant. He'd sign it on his front steps.
Yeah.
It was wild. But I always describe it. It was the first time I had to go down to meet with the big bosses. They're in Manhattan off of Vesey Street. And, all the Staten Island guys were walking through and we're going up to the elevators, but they wanted to get coffee first. This guy in a suit comes walking by and he stops and he starts talking to all the guys. And he's calling everybody their first names and he's shaking hands. And he gets to me and I'm the newest guy to the unit for the island. And he's like, oh, hey, Lee, how are you? how's everything going? I was like, hey, I was like, it's fantastic, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. He goes, we're just going to get some coffee. He was like, all right, don't take too long. We got the keynote speaker upstairs in 20 minutes. I was like, all right, thank you. We'll catch up in a little bit. So when the guy gets out of earshot, I'm like, I tell the other guy, it's like, who is that? They're like, that's chief. It was a chief. He was like, that's our CO. I was like, that's, but it was when you're on patrol, everybody talks like at you.
Yeah.
Everybody's just yelling at you, do this, do that, do this, do that. This guy walked up to me, shook my hand, called me by my first name, asked me how I was feeling, how was my day going, like talk like with me, like we had a
Yeah.
gentleman's conversation, and that's how they handled you. Like everybody was just expected to behave in that manner, and they
Yeah.
treated you like that. Like it was a gentleman's world, is the best way to put it. And it was just way, way, way different, like 180 degrees different from what we all know.
Yeah.
It was we were the secret squirrels, and it was just like, hey, I'm an FIO. They were like, all right, all right, all right, we'll leave you alone, and we did what we had to do, and as everybody figured out, like, if you were in the 122 and stuff was popping off, and you had to call somebody to come in and do whatever it is that we were going to need to do, you can call Wittek. No matter what time it is, call him 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. He'll be here. The other guys do that. It was a way different world.
So was your wife regretting her decision of making you take the police test? So when she was getting phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning,
that took some getting used to, but she started to realize, if I'm getting called at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, chances were she wasn't going to see me till the following day. Like I was going to have to get up and leave, and I wasn't going to be home until probably maybe dinner the next night. So she kind of got used to that.
yeah, it's like with my wife too. It's I call it the black pajamas, right? You wear you dress in black, and I'm leaving at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I never told her what I was doing, and I would just leave and go out the door, and I would just text her done and okay when the job was done. That was basically like that was our relationship.
Yeah.
Like as far as as far as jobs concerned and things like that. Was there nights that were ruined because of the job? Yeah, of course. I'm sure the same goes for you too.
For sure.
Now I was gonna say, Lee, because Vic shared on the last one that basically his family didn't really understand what he was doing. Every time I get the concept with law enforcement, but the level of what he was doing, did you maintain that type of protocol? I don't know what you want to call it with your family, or they knew what Dad did.
They knew what I did, but it's they knew it. They knew. I told them. I always told them what was going. I didn't tell them. They don't get the specifics, but they.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Right.
And this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to see you guys tonight. Well, why do you have to do that? It's like, listen, this has to be done. These are bad guys. They got to be. You can't just leave them there. You got to take them out. You got the bad guys. They got to go to jail. That's just how this goes. And they knew that's what I was going out to try to do.
My kids didn't even get that. They got nothing.
Lee, let me ask you this I'm not asking for specifics, but the level and type of criminal activity. And I'm just very interested because you were talking about you're dealing with, in the projects and then drug dealers and guns and all stuff like that. Now you're in the intel counterterrorism field. Same type of criminal, different?
No, now you're dealing with like it's more involved. You know what I mean? It's like, patrol guys, like I'll give you an example. Like patrol guys get a call for like a child in danger. Like ACS is at a house, but they got a call that shots were fired in the house. So everybody goes there. Nobody sees anything. Nothing out of the ordinary. The kid's not even there. So they called. My lieutenant was like, you know what, this doesn't fit. Something's not right. They called us down. And, the lady let us, they were like, oh, come on in. You want to take a look? There's nothing going on here. Well, we go down to the basement. And what do you find? You find like a drill press and plastic shavings on the floor. And then it's like, all right, so that piques your interest because it's weird just because where it's placed. And then you find like half of like a jig for like an 80% lower. And none of the cops there know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
I knew what it was. And that was so early on that even like when I called the ADAs, because now I want to tear the house apart. You know what I mean? I want to tear the drywall off the walls to find this gun, but nobody understands that they're building rifles in his house. So I had to like FaceTime the ADA to explain to him, hey, drill press, tools, jig, shavings. There's a gun here. We got to find it. And then it was, I had to show them on FaceTime and it was like one of the first ghost gun cases to come out of Staten Island. And then we were able to finally convince them. And they gave us a warrant. We pulled 2 of them out of the attic, hidden in like a.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So it's just now, were you trained on this stuff or is it just you picked it up or how did that?
Again, it was one of those things where I was new to the team. I was new to that world, and I didn't want to be left in the dust by everybody that was there for a little while.
Yeah.
So I used to read up on this stuff on my own just to become familiar with it so that so that I would be part of the conversations. Like when it came to tactical plans, I'm here. Like I said, after I found that hand grenade, like I was like, all right, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm all in. Let's figure this out. This is my
Yeah.
career. My father always said, no job is worth doing if it's not worth doing well.
Exactly right.
That's very good.
So I was
Yeah.
just, you know what? Let's do this. If I'm going to do it, I'm all in. So
Yeah.
I just picked my spots to learn, to catch up to speed with everybody else and know my stuff. And that's how we figured that a lot of that stuff out. And then
So,
but I had to teach like the other guys what
yeah.
to look for.
So this is where this is some conversations that have been happening recently. The profession of law enforcement, right? And I do see it as a profession, but there's levels to it. And I think you've done a very excellent job, whether you realize it or not. You've described the progression of your law enforcement career, but also it's very indicative of law enforcement in general, right? That you need the cops down there running the foot patrol. Just your presence is a deterrent. That type of a thing. That's that's a real thing.
Presence.
And then your presence could be, we'll just stick with it for now. But and then you're going into patrol stuff, and then you're searching cars, right? And then now we're moving into getting drugs off the street, and learning that. Now we're into, and this is where I think all aspects are necessary, right? Because again, in all aspects, you were busy, and you can see your face light up with all the different, the housing, the conditions, all these things, right? You're like, you enjoyed it, and now you're in intel in counterterrorism stuff, which unfortunately is a necessity now. Once again, these are all facets of. Think about it, law enforcement. Same guy who fucking grinded out every day because he hated fucking the police academy, doing push-ups in sweat puddles,
Yeah.
is now going to a judge's house to get warrants and having to do research on ghosts. You see what I'm saying? Like the progression of law enforcement and what it is as a profession. So, and this is part of why I started this, is like, how do you describe law enforcement? How do you describe a good law enforcement professional? There's so much fucking to it, right?
100% of us.
Right? I mean, just think about all the divisions just in NYPD.
How do you even describe it? It's hard to even.
Exactly.
I look back on the way I tried to carry myself, and as silly as it sounds, I made sure that my uniform was squared away.
Yeah.
I knew, like, when I did my TAC meetings for my search warrants, I didn't want my ESU guys coming in and asking any question, and the answer was, I'll have to get PT on that one.
Yeah,
I knew my answers. I knew my routes. Right. That wasn't going to happen. Not on my watch.
I tell you, Vic would say no.
And the crazy part is that the way my schedules worked out with the rest of my team, I would say 75% of the time I was on my own. So it was like, stuff would pop off and I'd be the only guy there.
Was it because I could kind of attest to this whole thing? Is it because you were just there, or is it because you wanted to do it and vet it yourself?
No, because I was the only one there. Everybody else was either on vacation, they were off. Things always seemed to hit the fan when it was just me sitting in the office.
Bro. Shit magnet. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Right. So, I would put my plans together, and it was like what we did, like, is not common. Like, not everybody in the department knows how to put a warrant together, how to do a TAC plan, how to do all that stuff. So that you'd go to the desk, you'd talk to lieutenants, captains, PIs, and be like, listen, I need personnel for this. I need hospital cars. I need equipment. I need all these people. I need to set up. I need ESU to come here. We have a meeting. We gotta have a meeting at 5:00 in the morning. I need supervisors on scene. This is who we're going after. This is what's going to be in the house. This is what we're looking for. You'd have to have all those answers. That's on top of all the work that you had to put in just to get the warrant.
Yeah.
You got to get all these people. You got to get all your personnel, the paperwork, the notifications. You get computers, 2 phones going. Everybody's calling. You're trying to sort this out. And it was, like, I wanted to be the guy. That's always that's what it comes down to. Like, and to be the guy, I had to look the part, act the part, know the part. And I made a point to be that way every day.
Vic?
I can relate, man.
Yeah. Well, think about what's right here on this, right? Again, I'm not comparing in any way. It's just the different career paths touching on almost all aspects. I was never a TAC guy or an intel guy, but it's all law enforcement, right? And then I can also relate to what Lee's saying, because in the Secret Service, they teach you, currency, investigations, protection. They teach you all that stuff. But the reality of protection is logistics. How are you going to move all these people to the different spots and make sure they're where they're supposed to be? And again, you will do. It's like every campaign, the Secret Service acts like it's the first time there's ever been a presidential campaign. Every year, and then whoever wins, they're like, "Oh my god, I don't know what we're gonna do." That this person, it's like, dude, how long we've been doing this for 200 years? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But it's logistics, and then to your point, you don't want to be that schlub standing in front of somebody looking like a fucking asshole, and then when you have a room full of cops or agents or whatever, and you're like, I don't know, we're gonna have to figure it out when we go. It's embarrassing, right? And it's unprofessional. So have I.
Yeah,
I never wanted to be that guy. I saw it one time. I was like, holy fuck, not me.
Yeah, but just listening to, like, just from my career path and being in the tactical unit and then listening to him talk, it's like I would do a job with him tomorrow if I had
100%.
to. Like, it's just because he's got everything. I know that all his stuff is. It's just a matter of me playing my portion because his is already done.
Yeah.
So it just makes the job a little more seamless.
Yes.
He did his part. Now I have to do mine. So now I'm going to do the diligence to plan that operation.
What I love, what I truly enjoy and love is meeting and talking to guys. We got Stromboli over here with banging the rocks together, but then you listen to him talk about planning and the investigative side and studying and putting together math problems. See what I'm saying? Like just these little hidden things. It's like, no, there's way more going on in there than, the guy throwing around 500 pounds in the gym. Still can do that too. See what I'm saying?
That's him too.
It's a very unique individual. And Lee.
And crushing about 13 cheeseburgers while he's doing it.
A&W, bro. He threw out A&W. Had to throw it in A&W.
It makes me want an A&W right now.
Are there even any more left? Yeah. Lee, thank you very much. I know you didn't think you had much to say. We went for over an hour and a half, brother.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Dude, we're going to have you back on because we got to dig into more of the aspects of the stories. It was kind of like with Vic. We just had to do an outline, bro, because you just
didn't even scratch the surface yet.
Dude, you just kept throwing out nuggets, and then you were like, your broken hand in the Gulf the day after we bombed somewhere, and you're 13 taking pictures on tanks burned out. Like we haven't even gotten into any of this stuff. But
camels through the pyramids. Yes, that happened.
Come on, bro.
That happens.
Dude, I love it.
And then you retire, and then you met me.
That's it, bro.
Boom. And that's the thing. SWAT guy, NYPD Intel guy, and yet, bad motherfuckers bust through a door, slamming dudes, fucking running through the projects. I love it. But yet here we are. We're talking about doing research, studying, being a professional. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just basic shit. Like it's a profession.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Fucking great.
It was
Lee,
awesome.
thank you so much. Vic, thank you, brother.
Yeah, man. There's
All right,
more to
boys.
come.
Absolutely.
You got it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Later, guys.